This is Dave Putz here from JKP Holdings, talking to you today about our bid calculator. For a long time, investors have asked about bid calculators, not just of us, but from many other investors, right? And most of the time, we're hesitant to say yes to sharing this information for multiple reasons. The biggest and most difficult reason is you don't understand the bid calculator, so sharing information to you that you don't understand can be dangerous. Now, when we do this kind of stuff, we understand that you have to do more work than just putting numbers in. So be respectful of the calculator as a tool, as a guide, and not the end all be all. The old way of doing the bid calculator has been simple, but guarantees errors. Manual input, if you're running one or two assets, is fine. But when you're running more than one asset, you can lead into human error, forgetting to put something in, not changing the interest rate or not changing the UPB or address or whatever. Multiple variables go into it to calculate this information, maturity date, blah, 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 right? Now, the next issue is that you may, as you're trying to build a calculator, you don't know the expenses, timelines, and exits, right? What's a foreclosure timelines in each state? What's the expense for foreclosure in different states and the court costs? You don't have that information, so it makes it difficult. Also, not knowing the exit strategies that are possible and which ones are the most important to watch out for. Now, bidding based on BPO or UPB has been a very common thing that we see. But understand that when you do this, you don't take into account the number of payments, coupon, and other variables that affect this. As you've seen us talk about this in the past, bidding strictly based on a BPO or UPB is dangerous because you're not calculating your returns. And if you do, you typically go back and then adjust it. We want to go the reverse here. We're going to go into that in a few minutes. Bidding with one exit in mind. The old method was to, hey, it's performing, I'm going to bid it as a performer. Which leads to the next point. Most of the time when bid based on performing, it's based on yield, which, if you understand yield, could be a 20-year period of time, right? You have to understand that there are other exits that could happen. A performer can go non-performing. And if it does, where are you at? Now you can ignore that exit, but being aware of it is important because you can get burnt if you don't. And bidding based on yield, understand that a loan that goes for 20 years has a yield number. But if you are not holding it for 20 years, the yield kind of goes out the window, and we're then getting into worlds of IRR, internal rate of return. In our calculator, no longer there's this manual input of data. There's no chance for mistake of you forgot or the decimal point going the wrong spot that you put in. We're going to take information from the tape. As long as the tape information is correct, you're going to input it into the sheet. You're going to set your returns. Your variables will be based on your business. What returns and what expenses is for your business. Now, with the idea of bidding based on your desired returns, you're going to bid on assets. And sometimes the seller will say, we want to bid, you have to be above 60% of the number. That's fine, dandy, but that means that you take the assets and the bid number you received and you filter out those who don't rise to the level. You don't go based on what the seller wants and bid strictly on that number because your return could be falling. So filter that out. The next, we have a feature in it that it has the bid calculated and a manual override. In this scenario, the calculator takes the worst exit strategy scenario based on the variables you put in for your returns and calculates that. When it does that, it overrides all the exits and says this is the bid number based on the worst case scenario. Now you can override this. You could put an override manual number in and see what the returns are for every exit based on the number you put in there. So if you want to see what 60% of UPB or BPO is, you put that in there and it will show you returns. If the bid number calculated is much lower, you're going to see one of your exits resulting in much lower return that you're looking for. Our goal here is to bid based on your returns, not UPB or BPO. What you'll find in the calculator. Now, the calculator data comes from the tape and any information you provided, okay? If you have the bedrooms, bathrooms, property values, it'll come from the tape or any information you put in there, right? So you're entering the data, copy paste from the tape and or copy and paste into a field. And you're going to go down the line and picking which address you're going to run and it'll populate into the sheet. You'll also see inside the actual bid calculator the values you put in, the bedroom counts, the Google Map information, and a Google Map image. You also see the note details. This could be the maturity date, number of payments, payment history. Any information that you provided will be shown into the calculator. The bid detail. Inside the bid detail section, you're going to see the bid amount for each exit strategy based on the return desired of you. You also see a column that is the return based on the amount that is the bid, right? So one column will show you what bid you would have to make to get the return for that specific exit, and the other column will show what the return is for that exit based on the bid number that's below. So in the next section below, just below that, you're going to see a percentage of BPO, UPB, or legal balance. It's kind of a quick chart to look at and see, oh, where am I bid at? I'm bid at 60% of this, or 30% of that, or 100% of this. It's just a reference guide. It's a byproduct. Some additional items you're going to find. This calculator is very big, and we're summarizing the big parts of it. You're going to see exit strategies and how each exit strategy and timelines line up and layout. You're also going to see which servicers can service that loan in that state and what attorneys are licensed in that state. So you can quickly reach out to either one of them and let them know about the actual asset. And if you need to do, to move that loan to a different servicer, you can quickly look it up. We also included a time value calculator. This calculator, shown to the right side, shows you what the time value of money is. In essence, this calculator will do everything you're looking to do. For the performing, it will bid based on IRR, not yield. And what you'll find out with this is that you can bid at a much lower yield than what you previously were doing and still get the returns you're looking for. Because more than likely, you're not holding that loan for 15, 20, 25 years. You're more likely going to sell it in a period of time. And during that period of time, how much return do you need? Depends on how much you receive and how much you sell the loan for. And I can guarantee that more likely you can actually bid more for assets to get the return that you may be doing now because you're just factoring yield. Thanks for watching.